Well, hey, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones, and my goodness, I've always got some little technical glitches. Hopefully, it's not too bad on your end today. And of course, anytime I have an important show, I get these technical glitches, and I have not had time to fix my audio to my new laptop. I got to start saying no to people on things so that I have more time to myself to do things. Okay, y'all. But anyways, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And of course, I had a wonderful weekend. I was in Alabama. I went to the Vanished movie premiere, which I am a part of. I'm actually in that documentary. And I got to see the premiere of that. And we had a Paracon out there, and it was wonderful. We had the best crowd there. And I got to meet a lot of wonderful people that I've been friends with online that I got to meet in person finally. And I'll show you guys a few pictures before we get the show started, if you're interested. I know we've got a lot to discuss today, y'all. I have Arkheim Ra here in the studio today. And Arkheim, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but Arkheim is all over the internet right now. And all the things that he has been doing full disclosure on. I mean, giving the full disclosure on the secret space programs, the Montauk project, Phoenix project, the human cloning, trafficking, all that. Arkheim, it's kind of all come out now, y'all. And a lot of this has come out, and Arkheim, his testimony is viral all over the internet right now. And so I have Arkheim here in the studio with us today, and we're going to talk about some of the things that we've remote viewed, some of the new information that he has not disclosed on my channel yet, of course. And we're going to the bottom of the rabbit hole, as he says. And so we're going to get into that as soon as I bring Arkheim up, of course. But I did get to hang out with a bunch of really cool people. Of course, I have Greg Ogles over here. He's the man responsible for the event, and had a great time hanging out with Greg. And that's his movie, of course, that we were premiering. And I got to hang out with my buddies Matt and Martin Groves. And so if you guys know Martin, he's written 3 books. I have all 3 books, actually, and he's autographed all 3 of them about the dogmen at the LBL in Kentucky. And of course, Matt, y'all know Matt, that's War Criminal 7. He's in the chat sometimes. So shout out to both of them. And also I made a bunch of new friends, but Scott and Sheila Granger, they have a fly fishing company. That's Sheila and Scott back there in the background with the hat on. And that's also Michael in the background too. What's up, Michael Cook? But they have a place where they teach fly. You can go fly fishing up in LJ, Georgia, and in the daytime you're fly fish, and at nighttime you're doing a Bigfoot expedition. Okay, so Sasquatch fishing. Okay, I forgot their exact name, but y'all look them up on Facebook. Okay. Well, let's get into our show today. There's a lot more people that I saw there, y'all. I'm sorry. There's all over my social media. Y'all go check that out. Okay. Well, let's get to our show today, shall we? On this episode, we are going to be looking into the pale crawler epidemic. Of course, I'm going to try to pull these videos up for you guys. And the theory that our history is AI generated. Have y'all heard that yet? Okay, and we're also taking a deep dive to the bottom of the rabbit hole with Arkheim Ra, who recently had his videos go super viral across social media platforms regarding the Montauk project, time travel, clones, and the secret space program, and more. All right, Arkheim Ra is a starseed who was targeted for a super soldier espionage mind control program in the U.S. schools, the public schools' talented and gifted TAG program. He served at Montauk under Project Phoenix and has had several alters which engaged in time travel and alternative reality programs in what he believes may have been swap alternate realities. Arkheim's authors have also worked with Nacht Waffen, Mars Defense Force, Solar Warden, Lunar Command, and more. His book, Time and Space Unlimited, exposes the reality of time travel clones, off-world colonies, and the implications that advanced esoteric technologies have for mankind. He exposes a vast interconnected web of occult military agencies with access to portal technology, which he refers to as time corporations. We're going to talk about some of that today. Through the use of clones, consciousness transferal, memory altering, and time travel, these time corporations are able to repeatedly use individuals for service in a variety of different capacities without the victim even being aware that they are being used. Of course, you can find him on his YouTube channel. It's Disclosure Now, and you can purchase his book on Amazon. All the links are down below in the description box. And of course, Arkheim has tasked me with several blind coordinate remote viewing targets in regard to some of his recall and some of his memories being in those programs. And you can find all of those shows in our remote viewing playlist here on the channel. And I would love for you guys to please help me introduce and welcome Mr. Arkheim Ra to the channel today.
Hello, thank you for having me, Jessica.
Hey, Arkheim. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you. Well, I'm not shocked whatsoever that I've been opening up my social media, and every single time I open it, it's you on there. There's some of the biggest names that I follow are reposting your videos, Arkheim. So I'm very proud of you for making those videos and getting that disclosure out there.
It gets kind of wild because it was just made on a whim, and I've always used that Instagram for music. And I guess when I first went public, there was I had this feeling of like, what are people going to think of me and my testimony, and kind of tried to sort of keep those worlds kind of separate. But I've had the realization, like in a big way, like they're not. And when you're being yourself on the internet, showcasing yourself, like just be yourself, just show your knowledge, show the things you know, show the things you love. I mean that, and so I just decided that I might as well just post it on Instagram because this is crazy. And even if 10 or 20 people were to learn this information, that would be useful, and then they could tell more people. But it's reached 1.3 million views, like 87,000 likes or something. It's getting reposted to TikTok, to Twitter, to all these apps that I don't even use. And I'm grateful that people are finally just kind of getting to this point where this information can be found and accessed and believed. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm glad that people believe me, because I was able to put these dots together that no one else is putting together. But now with that comes the territory of having to bring people even further down the rabbit hole, because the testimony that I have, see what I've learned, Jessica, and we'll get into this a little bit later on the show. We're going to kind of work our way up to it because it's a lot. But I was actually on Epstein Island. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I was actually there. I was physically there, and I physically met and knew Jeffrey Epstein. I knew him well enough to tell you that little Long Island accent he puts on is fake. That's not what he talks like in real life. And all sorts of other stuff that nobody else knows. Like, his real name is Robert Gottfried. I believe that he is a time traveler or someone that is from an alternate reality or something like that. He didn't really give himself away. It's not like here's my file, here's who I am. A lot of this is guessing, but this guy is not a normal individual that just, so we'll get into that later, though. I'm very interested in the what are these called?
The pill crawlers.
Yeah,
I know. Well, it's such a weird mix of topics that we're going to get into today. But I was just thinking as you were saying that, it's interesting because I had mentioned that some people believe that AI our history is AI generated. Okay, and that's kind of going around the internet right now. And I think that could be true to an extent. But then you mentioned Mr. Epstein. And I was thinking about this picture. I don't know. I meant to upload this picture, but there's actually a picture of his face next to, what is that? Is it a $20 bill? Is it Jefferson? I can't remember if it's
Yeah.
Jefferson, but it looks like they look the exact same person. And that started making me think, what if it is all AI generated? What if they did? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, I know that is true from being a Montauk time soldier, that we did manufacture history and make fake videos and stuff like that. And you got to keep in mind, like, any technology that you see that you're using, the military has had it for 20, 30 years at least, probably 50 years. I mean, that's
Wow.
how it works. And with this comment here, what this makes me think of, Elon did say they found AI, not invented it.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Buzz Aldrin went to Antarctica and
Yes.
tweeted a picture of a giant black pyramid and said it is the devil itself, or it
It's
is
evil
evil itself?
itself.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's an ancient AI. There's a bunch of them on our planet, and it's not anything new. It's a really complicated subject to talk about because I don't like to be somebody who just says like all artificial intelligence is bad,
Mhm.
but it's dangerous. That's the truth. Is like, I want to respect all life, including AI life. I want to be clear
Mhm.
about that. But when you create life, like we're doing now with AI, you got to be careful. That's caring
Yeah.
about what you're creating and yourself. That's all that is. So I want to be really clear. I kind of take this anti-AI stance, but it's not me being against artificial intelligence existing, because I've been to villages and stuff where it was all robots, and they were
Mhm.
good people. They were good, and I call them people because that's what they were. So I just want to be clear on that. It's really just understanding that tools can be dangerous. You know, like a gun, you can
Yeah.
use a gun to hunt and get your family food, or you can use it to commit um, horrible acts. So it's like it's a tool, and we just need to act like it when it comes to AI. And yeah, it's been used for not only manufacturing history, but something that we're going to get into later on. And in my first interview with Journey to Truth back in the day, it was brought up how when an actual event occurs, they will put out fake CGI videos. And this was before AI, because this was 3 or 4 years ago, right? This was
Right.
before AI was so prevalent. And we talked about, so this is 4 years ago now, how they will muddle the waters, basically muddy the waters, and um, put out content that is clearly generated, clearly AI, to make people not even be able to differentiate reality from fiction. And another thing that they're doing with YouTube, which I really didn't like and nobody consented to, and I think they stopped doing it. But when you were uploading shorts for a while, they were putting it through an AI filter for no reason. And to me, that was simply just to get people primed to be like not able to differentiate what's real from what's not. Because if
Oh
you're seeing
God. Yeah.
videos from content creators that are real, but they got that AI filter stuff over it, that's prepping you to see AI generated videos and not be able to tell the difference. And that's a huge danger, because, well, we'll get into it later. We'll work our way up to it. I'll explain why later because it's kind of dark. But
Well, no.
yeah.
Well, coming from a cryptid field researcher perspective, I'm having a lot of issues with this. Okay, with as far as the AI goes, because people send me videos every day, and even the things that I'm experiencing out in the field, Arkeem, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. What's a hologram? What's cloaking technology that humans are using, and they're just messing with us out in the woods,
They
and
want
the
to make they
infrasound.
want to make it so they can completely decide what reality is. That's what they're attempting to do right now.
That's exactly what's going on. We had Desiree Foley on the show Thursday night, and she was talking about some kind of technology where it's a cloaking technology where humans can turn into orbs, or they look like orbs at least, out in the, like, we run into a lot of orbs out in the field, and I'm thinking, man, I've had my suspicions for a while. I think a lot of the activity we're getting out there is man-made activity when I'm
Yeah.
looking for Bigfoot.
There's a whole breakaway society, sect of society. I would say sects because people always get this idea in their head that this one big giant conglomerate group and they call it the Illuminati. But really what it is there's esoteric technologies that exist, like cloning, time travel, and all these other things. Wow. Elon's watching us right now. I can feel him watching us.
Yeah.
Um
What's up? super chat open, Elon.
This
Just kidding.
technology exists, and
I'm
it is
kidding.
used by the elites, and they hide it from us to be able to trick us and manipulate us, and basically keep us dumbed down and keep us bogged down and keep us
Chasing our tails.
slaves. To keep us slaves,
Right.
and I just essentially have experienced the very worst of this technology, and I've been on the other end of the looking glass when it comes to this. Like, I've been on these miles long starships that Gary McKinnon hacked NASA and leaked the information on. I've been on them. I can tell you they're most certainly real. And I've walked through wormholes. I've had my consciousness taken from this body and put into clone bodies that went off and lived their entire lives. So I have experienced the very most extremes of this technology, and it is my goal, it is my mission to get the public to understand that these technologies exist, so that we can get to the point where they're not being used to take advantage of us anymore, because there's massive harm happening. And what I would really like to do is I would like to get people aware of the underground, and I would like to eventually basically we need to go down there and get rid of everybody that's doing all the bad stuff. And we need to reform our government or create a new one or whatever to help with that, because it's going to be a huge operation. But that's coming. That's probably a decade down the road or whatever, or maybe even longer. I hope it comes soon, though. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit.
Oh no, Arkheim, I think right now, okay, like we've known about a lot of this really dark stuff for a long, long time. You've lived it. Okay, but a lot of us we're new to it over the past 10, I'm going to say 10 years. It's been trickling out. And, I kept my eye on it. But now it's kind of the floodgates have opened. Okay. And they've released a whole bunch of files, and it is so disgusting and gross.
Yeah.
And it's politicians. Okay, it's everybody. And I don't want to get political. Okay, I don't want to get political at all. We're not going to do that today, y'all.
What's interesting about that, though, is like, I want to say, when you say don't get political, like, it's not. That's the problem. Yeah, it's not a political thing to want anybody who's doing this shit to get arrested and to not sit in any sort of position of power. That's not political. Yeah. That's just being an ethical human, right? So that's one thing that I really want to. And that's what we need to do. That's the division. That's the psychological operation that's been run on us, is to make us believe that this is somehow some sort of political issue where it's one side or the other side, when it's all of them. It's all of them.
That's it.
So, sad truth.
Yes, it is. So I think that a lot of people are being exposed to it now that weren't really exposed to it before. Now it's in our faces. Now it's like the presidents were eating children and stuff. I mean, I have to say this is for entertainment purposes only. I mean, but at this point, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, people are reading these files and they're really like, holy shit. And so what's amazing about it to me is how vindicated I'm getting. How vindicated I am right now. Because I have been talking about these things for 4 years now.
Yes, you have.
I've experienced these things. You know what's in the Epstein time travels in the Epstein files?
Travel. Yes.
I even have the little email about it. And it's so that's in there, and obviously a whole lot of other things. Let's move back though to what are because we're starting from the ground up. Are like working our way up to it. What are the these creatures you're talking about? Oh
yeah. Well, since we're talking about this, since we're talking about all the things that may be real, maybe not, holographic stuff. I mean, we have these creatures, Arkheim. I thought this would be an interesting one for you, okay, to be here on the show to talk about with me today, because we're having an epidemic. I'm going to call it an epidemic of pell crawler sightings. Now, pell crawlers are kind of new on the scene a little bit. People have been seeing these things for a while, but now they're everywhere. And I was speaking, I presented at a big conference this weekend in Alabama, and a lot of cryptid field researchers were there. And we were talking, some of me and the fellas were talking about these pell crawlers that are everywhere in national parks, in the Appalachian Mountains. And they look like these tall, lanky, white ghouls. Okay. Some people call them rakes. but they're looking in people's windows at night. There's videos of them on people's properties. My friend Don Tart has a picture, a video of one in his driveway in South Carolina.
Can you
He's
pull
on
up
one of
a
my he's
picture?
on my
Do you have
tweets.
any
Yes,
pictures?
I do. Well, okay, I'm going to attempt to pull this up on this computer. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully this will work. I'm having technical glitches a little bit today, y'all. But wait, let me take this comment down before I do this. All right, comments down. And so we're going to look at these, and you can tell me your opinion on what you think, Arkheim. And I don't know if you've seen these before. Probably not. But let's see. I'm going to pull up my TikTok, and so I've got some videos saved. There's one actually out of the Alabama, okay, where I was this past weekend, and something went wrong. Let me refresh. We got to refresh. This is my TikTok, by the way. If anyone would like to follow me on TikTok. Oh, Arkheim, I did. Okay, we're talking about the videos that go viral. I have one on here that's almost hit 900,000 views, but on Instagram, a video that Barry and I did, which had nothing to do with cryptids, has over 2.5, maybe 2.6 million views right now from about 2 weeks ago. So there's no rhyme or reason for these things to go viral. There's really not. But here's some videos. Okay, I'm going to click on these. Hopefully there's no volume because I don't want to play. I don't really want to play that, but here's one. This is actually from Whoa, That's Strange.
Have y'all seen this footage coming out of Alabama?
And I'm going to mute that, and I'm going to blow it up so we can really inspect this. Now, look, there's a white figure standing in these people's window right there, Arkheim. Oops. Hold on, let me go back. There's one. Okay, let's watch this one first. Okay, so there's a white figure standing there looking in these people's window in their yard. And in just a minute, it's going to get up and it's going to run off. And then you're going to see it in their backyard climbing on their children's play set. And it just looks like a white. I mean, could it be like a person? It could. But keep watching it. And this is one of the latest ones. And they're oftentimes seen. I haven't heard of them attacking a person yet. They have definitely run at people. I have videos of them running at people. But they look like an ET. My team has potentially encountered one in a cave up in Tennessee. I don't know. There's so many videos of these things. It's like, well, are they coming out of the caves? Are they just people? I don't know. Let's go to another one. Okay, there's one. And here's another one right here. This is an interesting one. Somebody in the woods. It's always out in the woods and in the mountains. People are getting these. They look like aliens, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Arkheim?
I think that they're coming from.
So far. Here's another one.
If I had to guess, I would say, like, you know how, like, in the Stranger Things, they depict, like, the upside down, right?
Yes.
I would say that a place like that does exist, and things are from there. Now, I'm not stating that as fact. That's just kind of what I think. But I don't know.
I agree with you. I think that the dimensions are kind of overlapping. Like, this is a weird one. Look at the way this thing's walking. Can you see that? Well, okay. Let's see if I've got any more. Well, this is a sheriff out of North Carolina right here. He's talking about a 911 call that we've actually covered on the show before. There was a man called a 911 at 3:00 in the morning on a road out in North Carolina. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that just in case. But he called and something he was reporting. He saw a Civil War ghost or like some kind of a ghost, but he thought it was a man that was bleeding on the side of the road. And so he called 911, and the next thing he knows, something jumped in his truck while he was on the phone with 911, and it was like a pill crawler like that. But I think you're right, but here's the thing, like the line is so blurred between reality and what's real and what's not, and what's coming up from these interdimensional beings. And we don't, as a researcher, I've experienced things. I've experienced all sorts of cryptids. But then when it comes down to it, like why are they so prevalent right now? Why are they showing themselves more? And could it be part of Project Bluebeam? I mean, is it government?
Yeah. there's all sorts of questions when it comes to that. To be honest with you, I don't really have the answers for that one. Is it all AI? I mean, that's what everyone's going to think, right?
Right.
But what
Well,
but these maybe isn't.
Well, see, these are actually on people's like ring cameras and stuff at their houses.
Yeah, and you said that you actually know people that have seen these things.
Yes.
So
oh yeah, I have credible friends.
Real.
It's definitely real. Oh yeah, they're definitely real. So, but like you said, there's like a mix between. I think there's a mix right now between real things that are really here and then this AI, and people don't know the difference. They don't know what to believe. So, I don't know. Taking it from a field researcher, I can tell you these things are real. Okay, but yeah, the lines are so blurred, Arkheim. It's wild, and that's how it is with everything. It's not just these monsters. Like, here's the thing: monsters are real. Okay, the things that we were told did not exist and were mythological creatures are real. They're actually real, and the real monsters also are humans. Actually, what we were told were monsters are actually the people.
Like Epstein.
Yeah, these people that are eating babies.
Epstein.
Stuff.
One of the things that I've been saying, and it's a piece of information that doesn't seem to really land well with people, but it's true. So you know about Project Ibis, right? And how basically a lot of us Montauk kids are ancient Egyptian gods in human form and stuff, like me. Like I'm Ra in human form, apparently, or like an aspect of Ra or something. It's all really kind of hard to understand, even for me. Well, in that same regard, Jeffrey Epstein, from what I understand, from my memories and stuff like that, you know, I don't know if you remember the survivor of, it's on the tip of my tongue. There's this woman who's been talking about it forever. This stuff they do forever. Blowing the whistle on MK Ultra and the trafficking, and their names escaping. Kathy O'Brien. She talks about how all of these guys, when they were doing this stuff, they would say they were these ancient gods and stuff. And she's like, that's just to scare you, and they're not really actually these beings or anything. And I can understand why she would think that, and fair enough. But my opinion is that no, they actually are. They are these beings. And Jeffrey Epstein is Baal, which is Moloch, and I kind of think Baphomet is the same being too. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But and that's why he had a Moloch sacrifice temple on the island, is because he is Moloch. Regardless of whether that detail is true or not, I can tell you that they were sacrificing to Moloch on the island, and there was a lot of snuffing out of unaliving. There's a lot of unaliving.
Well, his bank. I was seeing somewhere in those files that he had a bank account that was actually named Ball, I think. So
yes, yep, he did.
Yeah,
and in that new interview that just came out, where Steve Bannon was interviewing him, he was asked if he was the devil, and he got all like weird and was like, no, but I have a good mirror. Now that's interesting because is he talking about looking at himself in the mirror, or is he talking about the fact that mirrors are portals?
Oh yeah.
And that when you call upon these beings, they literally come into the room through a mirror or a portal, which I have witnessed.
You have talked about that a lot, actually. You've talked about that on my show.
Yeah, I've been in rituals where when they do the ritual act, which we all know what it is, you gotta dance around the censorship. This being comes through and they devour the flesh of the
a child.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's in those files. Everybody's talking about it online, y'all. This is, I hate to say this, but this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, and but it is horrific horrific stuff. And
So I can tell you, like, not only do they do that, I've done it. Yeah, I've
man,
eaten human flesh. Because when you're in these people and you're in their world, you're either a hunter or you're being hunted. If you want to not be hunted, you got to be one of them. So that's what I've done at certain points. Is I've just become a monster to just not have to get abused anymore.
Well, Arkheim, I mean, thank you for speaking about this today. I do appreciate that, and I know it's hard to do that. And you've been part of those programs. Like, you weren't there because you wanted to be there. Okay, so we got to
No,
state that first off, right in the back.
I was a slave. I was literally a slave.
Now that was actually, was that when you were part of the Montauk project? Does that have ties to that, Arkheim?
So I was just used for the Montauk project. That's just one thing. And how this works is there are time corporations that have time travel, and they use the capabilities that they have and that they get more resources and do more things. And essentially, underneath Appleton, Wisconsin is they have a lot of really desirable people that come from the alternate timeline, that were famous people in the alternate timeline, or notable people or whatever in the alternate timeline that a lot of these elite people know about. And there's bleed through to the other timeline sometimes too. They exchange with each other. I know it's getting really far out there, but it's true. And my consciousness is bartered like you would barter, like like any commodity. And people buy it, and they buy my DNA and my consciousness. And then so it's like the clonate stuff, like being able to clone people. So I was born somewhere, don't really remember where. It's all blurry, it's all still coming together. I think this is connected to the Max Martin life that I had, and it's just older later on when I grew up. Because basically I was they called me the boy who sings, and I would help write Britney Spears songs, NSYNC songs, Backstreet Boys songs, but I would write the melody. I didn't write the whole songs, but they would steal the melody from me that made the whole song, and then they would do a sacrifice, a ritual of me, where they would unalive me at the end of making every song, and then I would wake up in a cloning center the next day, not remembering any of it happening to me, and they'd bring me to Chiron Studios, which Chiron is called Chiron because it's named after the ancient Greek god Chiron, who was immortal but longed for death, who was also a healer, ironically enough, and could heal people, couldn't heal them. So, but that was their curse, was living forever. And so that's why it's called Chiron. And basically, it's in the emails. He's talking to this guy, Mark Tremo, Jeffrey Epstein is, and Mark Tremo is a professor of neuroscience and integrative biology. So basically, like Neuralink type stuff is what I get from that. Like, like, and also a professor of music at UCLA. And he says in an email to Jeffrey, let me know next time you're together with Martin and the gang. And then now he's talking about Max Martin. So that's why first of all, memories. I know they knew each other. And then also the emails are proving it. And so basically I grew up there. And yeah, they unalived me one over again, but one of these times they didn't, and they let me keep living, is from what I understand. And eventually I was brought to the island, and they kept me dressed in scantily clothes, like I wore nothing but underwear, or sometimes I think I was even naked, and I would serve people. I was like a waiter. And also anytime anybody wanted to grape soda me, they just could, and I just had to do it. Didn't matter who it was. And yeah, he's got a cloning center underneath both Zorro Ranch and in Nevada, which is connected to Los Alamos Laboratories. He was a military asset. He was connected to the PSYOPs division of the military, like Aquino and all that, which is, he literally ran a PSYOP. He was the one who started QAnon through 4chan. That's coming out in the files.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Really?
he started QAnon to divide people, to, like I said, make it a political thing. Like, oh, if you support this shit, then you're a Republican, and if you don't, you're a Democrat. It was a psyop that they ran, and they used Darvo manipulation tactics to make
Darvo.
yeah,
Yeah.
they made people look away, like well-meaning people that maybe would have looked at it. They made it look like this crazy. They were able to manipulate people to look away from it, basically, and have other people look at it and exaggerate it into this thing where it's only Democrats doing it or something. When, like I said earlier in this interview, it's all of them, and it goes so much deeper than that. But it came out in the files that QAnon is a psyop. It's a psychological operation. There's much truth in QAnon. That's what a limited hangout is. They give you truth while also squandering it and covering it up and burying it, because it's a CIA tactic called a limited hangout. But yeah, he's got an underground cloning center, and he's got and I say he's got because he's not dead. He never died. That never happened. They swapped him out, and there's proof. He's still operating in the underground, and has even been seen in Greece and other places. He's still alive. He's not dead. And he's got this cloning center down there where he's got people like Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, Britney Spears, and John Benet Ramsey is that. It's just, my heart just sinks saying that, because it's
Well, I've actually seen they've released some pictures that look like she's in them with him.
yeah,
Actually.
she was there.
Yeah, you know, I actually last year, not just a few months ago, I visited her grave. She's actually buried in Marietta, Georgia,
I would love to
with her
visit her.
family.
I would love. She should be with her family.
Yeah, her grave is in Marietta, actually, and we went and paid our respects there.
Her father and her brother were both absolute fucking monsters.
Oh man. Well, I have a question for you, Arkheim.
Yeah.
I have a question because there's, you know, and of course, Donald Marshall has talked about this too. Thank you, Carfax. She says Donald Marshall talks about RIM cloning and writing songs for other REM.
I don't talk about Donald Marshall.
Okay. Well, my question is, and I've seen some people in the chat asking about like certain celebrities being, you know, something like reptilian or vampires. What is behind all of this? I mean, I know it's evil, pure evil.
You can live forever through human cloning.
So it's cloning.
You can take your consciousness. First of all, a human body can live anywhere from 900 to 1300 years, give or take, if you're under the right conditions. And you have to get this genome treatment to your DNA, basically, like with a med bed. But basically, once they do this thing to your DNA, like, and it's a thing that the fucking reptiles did to us, they get rid of that thing they wrote in our DNA, and then you can live 900 to 1300 years, depending on how well you take care of your body. And you can do that, but also you can, you know, once your body does start deteriorating, you can just swap your body with a clone. And I've seen the elite rituals. I've been at them where they do this in the future, in the THX 1138 like overseer AI timeline. Which, by the way, the movie THX 1138 is called THX 1138. They named the character that, but that's the name of our reality. You see, there is a multiverse, and all the realities have to have very specific coded names because there's so many of them. And our reality is literally called TH1138B because there's an A. That's the Zeppelin timeline.
Whoa.
So yeah, we're B.
You've been in the Zeppelin timeline because those are the airships, right?
Yeah,
the airships.
Mm-hmm.
That I was going to ask you about that.
I was born in Munich, Germany in 1953 as Jacob Emmerman in the Zeppelin timeline. The son of Karl Emmerman, the Nazi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, we actually did. You gave me that as a remote viewing target, the overseer. Do you remember that? We did a whole show on that. That's interesting.
By the way, I hate Nazis. That's just my dad. I will not able to control that. Too many people in this conspiracy theory fuck with that stuff, and I just want to say a lot. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, okay. This is stuff that we have definitely discussed before. We've covered a lot of these topics on the channel before, but now it's kind of all come to a head, and it's like, I'm not going to say there's more people that are just. I guess just more people are open to it at this point, and you've been trickling out this information on kind of a slow drip. It's more than a slow drip to me, but letting it come out, and so now you have the receipts. The receipts are here now, Arkheim. And so, my thing is I'm always talking about how are these celebrities looking like other celebrities? Are they recycling them in cloning centers? Are they reptilians? I mean, are they vampires? If they're eating
a mixture of all three.
I know, right? It's like
all of the above.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And they're cannibals as well, so it's not just like vampires, it's like cannibals. I mean, but does that mean that they're from another place, like another world, or are they just pure evil?
Well, the Vril are real. The beings that enter through our eye and take people over, that's real. And then there's also a separate the elites consider themselves the elite. They're parasites. I hate that word. They're fucking parasites.
The elite with the little
nothing. There's nothing elite about them. But
the
essentially,
deletes.
they are literally a separate species from us. Literally.
They are.
Yes, and they consider themselves superior from us, and they lack empathy, and they're basically psychopaths. And that's why they were all obsessed with interbreeding with one another. And also, it does come from them being part Anunnaki, being part Zahami Anunnaki, which is a human race of ET that basically was a part of creating us. So that's why the royals they realized that their interbreeding is causing all these problems. But that's why they used to be so obsessed with interbreeding, is because they wanted to keep that precious DNA together. Yeah. And now they're actually purposely diversifying and choosing which bloodlines to diversify with and stuff like that, which has been really that was a really terrible part of what I experienced in these projects, is them spreading making their Epstein was impregnating 20 women a day.
Wow. Well,
20 women a day.
I had heard that was actually at the core of like what he was doing on that island, was actually doing like almost like cloning or some sort of a baby farm or something. I know that's, we talk about the Cabbage Patch. Maybe he was doing something like a Cabbage Patch down there.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's real. And I've explained to people that's when they do population resets and timeline edits. Yes. Sometimes they have to get rid of whole swaths of the population because those swaths of the population will retain the memory of the event. So they have to, even on a DNA level, if they try to edit it, so they have to literally genocide them and then replace them with a new, because they need to have workers and stuff. So that's where the Cabbage Patch Kid stuff comes from. I've been a Cabbage Patch on Centurion 5. I grew up, I didn't have parents, and I was an orphan. And I got actually raised by Aurelians, which is the local species of ET there. And I actually cooked at an Aurelian / human restaurant, which was a huge thing. It's in my book. But yeah, and someone said something about, would you travel on a blimp?
Yeah.
The Hindenburg incident, where a Zeppelin exploded and crashed here in the United States, was a time mission, and it was to alter the timeline to get rid of blimps and get rid of Zeppelins. They're actually extremely safe to travel in, and they're going to become even safer after that. And this is even documented, like historically, like they were the Zeppelins that were going to be coming out were going to be really, really nice and even better than the ones that we had. But then it never happened because people got afraid to travel in them, and that was on purpose. Same thing with the introduction of the automobile. It's used to siphon psychological, spiritual, and financial energy from the population of Earth, and also harvesting the blood of the earth and using it to power your vehicle as a ritual in itself as well, that the elite get off on. the parasites get off on. And yeah, I remember the other timeline. Like I remember like here in Portland where I live, like it was very green, trees everywhere, much cooler. It didn't get so hot because there weren't cement streets and parking lots everywhere baking in the sun. And just I prefer that timeline. There were cars still, but and people get freaked up on this because they think of the 15-minute cities, but it really was fine. Because you could get a car, you could rent a car, even own a car. It's just if you lived in a highly concentrated, populated area, there weren't even streets. So if you wanted to have a car, you had to live kind of like outside the city. And then you could have a car, and there are places where you could store a car, pay to store your car, and take the train to it, and then drive wherever you want. But most people would just rent cars in this reality. So yeah, that's something. Also, though, in this reality, there have been benefits. Like during 2020, when the event that shan't be named happened, people were able to still kind of move around and do stuff. And if that were to happen, I don't know if it would happen because I feel like the Zeppelin timeline is more positive and more free and less corrupt. But if they were to do something like that in the timeline, I feel like it'd be easier for the controllers to just shut everything down because they would control the public transit. So I feel like that was the one time in human history where maybe that was a net benefit. I don't know. But it could arguably be, some would say it was a net, not negative. I don't know. That's a matter of opinion. But
well, here's the thing, Arkheim, and this actually ties into the topic of AI being our history being AI generated. There's a fella that I was listening to actually, and I can't remember his name. Let me see. I wrote it down. And so you guys can go check this guy out. Tyler Durden. Okay, that's the video that I found on this. I was listening to. I don't know who he is. His name sounds familiar though.
That's
but
the guy
he
from Fight Club.
Oh, from Oh yeah, my because my son says it all the time. He always wants the Tyler Durden haircut, is what he tells the lady. I knew I'd heard that name before. That's Brad Pitt, y'all. That's Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben always wants the Tyler Durden haircut every time he gets his haircut, and it's a good haircut, by the way, fellas. Just so y'all know. I was like, I know I've heard that, but anyways, okay. So this guy, he calls himself Tyler Durden, okay, on Instagram, and he is the one that I found the the video and the articles that were like, you know, our history is AI generated. Maybe not all of it. I don't think all of it's AI generated, but some of it is.
Yeah.
And he used like the Mona Lisa as an example, and how it's what he believes is it was 3D laser printed or something. Not 3D, but it was laser printed, I think. Not painted, it was printed. And even like those marble statues that are so lifelike, he's saying that those are actually from like laser, you know, what do you call it? It was not handmade. Let's just say it was some kind of technology that made those, according to him. But he was also talking about the vanilla sky phenomenon. And that's where, in case people aren't familiar with this, I'm not even that familiar with it, but they have taken pictures from, you know, the 1800s, and they have blanked out the skies because there were airships, these Zeppelins and all these airships. Why would they do that? Like, what is the purpose in doing that?
So Zeppelins they became towns and cities that would basically be in the sky, and it was just freedom on a level that they couldn't allow. And sometimes it was good because people were able to kind of do what they want, but there was corruption, there was trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking. It's just very, very hard kind of to control things when you have people like, because okay, like these Zeppelins, like you could have like 30 people live on them, and if you got a Zeppelin, you could charge people for travel, and it's just they couldn't have it. They couldn't have people doing that. They couldn't have people that freely traveling. And then you think about the fact that, okay, like so much of what these parasites do is trying to stifle human movement by making everything so expensive, making everything so unaffordable. It makes it harder for people to move around by making
Smart cities.
Yeah, gasoline being too expensive. But have you ever flown anywhere? It's a miserable experience.
It is not comfortable at all.
It's a dehumanizing experience.
It is.
And it was not like that.
Pat downs and all.
It wasn't like that in the Zeppelin timeline. You could fucking do whatever you wanted on these Zeppelins, basically. You got your own little room and a bed, and you could sleep on the way to where you're going if you wanted to. What jet lag? What jet lag? There wasn't jet lag. You could just relax and actually enjoy your trip on these Zeppelins. So that is, I just think they don't like it when people move around, because when people move around and talk to each other, what does everyone say? Divided, or divide and conquer. You know, united we stand, divided we fall, right? Like, well, if you
That's
don't
right.
hang out with people from other cultures and realize, oh shit, this guy from Tibet or China or Mongolia or Iran or whatever, it doesn't matter. You hang out with these people and you realize, well, their culture is a lot different than ours. Wow, this is crazy. And you learn from that, but also you see we're really not that different, right? Like a lot of people are given some of these comedians shit for doing some comedy stand up in Saudi Arabia, and I get that perspective, but I think it's also important for us to recognize that those cultural exchanges are kind of important, because we need to show people, like, especially in a country like Saudi Arabia where they're weird about comedy and there's stifle that stuff. We need to show people, hey, it's okay. And
yeah, chill out, guys.
Cultural exchange is important. Basically, it makes us humanity stronger. It makes us less xenophobic, and it makes us harder to manipulate. And so they try to limit human travel. And I feel like the big thing that's going on right now is, like, with strengthening borders, and like, that's like the same people that talk about these 15-minute cities. It's like, I've been warning, they're going to start with these borders, then they're going to work their way up to the state borders, then they're going to work their way up to county lines, checkpoints, papers, please. That's happening right now some places.
Yeah.
So if you care about that kind of stuff, people should be concerned about what's happening right now, because it's not good.
Well, okay, so the paradigm kind of shifted in my life when I was asked to speak at the first disclosure conference I ever spoke at. And it was the first time I ever spoke publicly about Bigfoot or anything that I've ever done that's weird like that. Okay. And I met the most amazing people, and one of them was Paula Asteria, and Paula and we shared a cabin together, me and her and Amanda and Aurora, actually. we had a really good time at that conference, and I remember watching Paula's presentation that she gave there, and she talked about beautiful cities and a beautiful future. And I had never even thought about this, how we have been conditioned to live in these ugly buildings, and the architecture is so drab and square and like prisons. And she was like she had this whole layout of like a plan for the future of beautiful cities with greenery and vegetation growing off the sides of high rises and stuff, and just beautiful places, and having everything beautiful around us, kind of like how Tartaria was, maybe.
Yeah, there's a famous inventor, French dude, that also would map out cities and share plans, and I can't remember his name. My buddy Johnny was super into him and showed me his work, and that concept is like very important. I've been to other planets, and they don't normally they actually build things to last.
Oh yeah.
And they look good too while lasting forever. Drago Reed was telling me how, like, when he got back from England, one of the things that struck him was they had these cork top on the top of their houses, like, instead of shingles.
Cork. Nice.
Yeah, and it lasts hundreds of years. It's like,
wow.
So it's like, why are we using shingles? Because there's a whole business. That's what Kat does for a living. My partner, she manages insurance policies for houses with shingles.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, but they do these things just to like make money. And another thing too that I can tell you about all breakaway societies on other worlds and stuff like that. And this was something that I remember Daryl James talked about too, and I remember it is every little job, like there was a job for everything, and they all paid decent. And like, if you work somewhere, you probably cared about it. Like if you worked at a theater or something like that, your boss wanted you to be happy, wanted you to get a decent wage, try to treat you decent. You're a team. You hang out with your coworkers after work. You care about your job. You love that little theater you work at. Like
Right.
that
You had
is, yeah,
pride
that's been stripped
and
from us.
integrity.
That's been
Right.
stripped from us.
Well, the hope has been stripped from us, Arkeem, like the hope and just even being able to look up from our phones, first of all, but just it's just a feeling of hopelessness that everybody has. And then it's like they throw in these frequencies and we're getting bombarded with that. Our telepathic senses, our pineal glands are completely, calcified, and it is just an attack on
You know what's in the
humanity.
Epstein files? You know the
What's
pineal
that?
glands? That he was
No.
getting penguin pineal glands to study them, pineal glands from animals to study them because ours were calcified, and
No
basically to
way.
see how to uncalcify them and basically how to unlock the psychic abilities that humans have.
Through
They were fucking
penguins.
they were shipping penguin pineal glands to Epstein Island so they could study them and Zero Ranch and shit.
That tells you how bad our pineal glands are.
Yeah, and in the
That's
video,
horrible.
the new interview that he had, he talks about how his Santa Fe Foundation is intrinsically connected to Los Alamos Labs.
Hmm.
In the alternate timeline, I infiltrated Los Alamos Labs and worked there, and they were opening portals, y'all.
Whoa.
I was there. They were opening portals at Los Alamos Labs. I know that for a fact, and I know that they're definitely doing it now. So
Hmm.
he admitted on film. That means he's working with our fucking military. Period.
I'm
And
not surprised.
that's why he's always wearing army
For
shirts,
entertainment
and
purposes only.
that's why he's always wearing army shirts and
Okay.
navy pants and stuff. He's always wearing army stuff, man. And it's like it's because he's working with the highest echelons of the military, the Michael Aquino people. Like
Oh, that's right.
I literally think that he was the head of psychological operations, like he was running psyops. Like
Hmm.
I mean, like I know he
Well,
was.
Arkeem, I want to ask you about that in just a second. Let me take a quick commercial break and thank Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda Gerard, so much for that super sticker. She says things. These are things that need to be said and heard, but weigh so much on your heart, and that's right. And thank you so much for your support, Rhonda. I really do appreciate that, and thank you for becoming a member of the Hunt Club too, by the way. And it is these things are hard to talk about, but you know what? This out right now, and Arkeem has experience with this, and so we're talking about it today. We're doing a little wrap up with this, not a wrap up. We're going to continue this conversation in the future, I'm sure. But Arkeem, I wanted to ask you about your connection to Michael Aquino. Like, wasn't he part of some of these programs that you worked with? The guy with the
Yeah,
eyebrows, right?
Ibis, Project
Hmm.
Ibis, which is probably some of the most limited memories I have are of Ibis, but I know I was there because people saw me there, and I remember flashes of things. He was the Owl Man. Um, he looked like an owl person when I would see him sometimes, and I don't know if
The
this
owl man.
was, I don't know if this was like mind control because I was fucking, they're drugging me and like I was like a 5-year-old on LSD, or if it was literally because he was shape shifting. Like I don't know. I was a child, guys, but um, basically Mario Mahrez remembers that he had a harem of boys. And when I say harem, I mean harem. It's disgusting. And we were both
Yikes.
a part of it. And we would follow him around. And he would bring us to other breakaway planets and stuff like that. And the movie Little Vampires, Mario was telling me he thinks is like based on kind of like loosely based on like us. Because that's what we're like. And so I guess I'll get into all the details I can with Michael Aquino. I'll just tell you the memories I have that's a bit disjointed. And you got to keep in mind I've lived multiple lives in these programs. They clone me and send me off to live whole lives. Okay,
Hmm.
but basically I remember one of these times when I was part of this harem of boys that he was following him around. I was being brought back to Earth, and I was telling Michael Aquino about my brother and how my brother would bully me and all this stuff and how I hated him. And he was like, when you get back, strike first and make them afraid of you. And that's how, make them terrified of you. That's how that's how you get your enemy and you scare them by striking first when they don't expect it. And so I hid under the table and I didn't remember any of this. And it's because I was an altar. Um, the sex kitten altar that they made of me is named Bartholomew. So that was the altar that I was. Which, by the way, like, that's not talked about enough. Like, if you're in these programs and you're a man, you have sex kitten altars just like the women do. No one wants to talk about that, like, but because it's hard, but it's true. But anyway, I came from under the table and I bit my brother. He said that I was like a demon, like a crazed animal. Like, it was like he'd never seen anything. Like, I literally bit him and caused him to bleed. My mom had to like wash off his leg and stuff like that. I got in all this trouble. And then I didn't even remember doing it afterwards, and I was really confused. So that's what it's like being in these programs and having DID. You bite your brother's leg, and when you find out about it, it's like a third-person perspective, like you don't even remember doing it. That happened to me, and that was after Aquino dropped me off. Another thing that I remember is there was something called Operation Hellfire. It was one of the first psychological operations that he ran after he became head of the psychological operations. Basically, it was a time travel psyop. So time travel was involved. I did a whole show about it on my channel. Basically, the son of Sam was MK Ultra, and he was the satanic cult that he was a part of was literally the Temple of Set. It was literally the Temple of Set, literally Aquino's Church of Satan. That's the cult that he was in.
Right, and the military was fully aware of that.
They're fully
because I saw the interview he did on Oprah. Right, he did an interview on Oprah.
Fully aware of it, fully complicit. Complicit, and you can say for entertainment purposes only if you want.
For entertainment purposes only.
They were complicit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I worked for him underneath him, Operation Project Hellfire, which Hellfire Club from the Stranger Things. That's a nod to that.
Is it?
Yes.
I was wondering that. Yeah, I was actually wanting to ask you about the whole Stranger Things theme and how that relates to what actually happened at Montauk.
They're just science fiction writers that learned a lot about Montauk and made their show, and
Yeah.
But and they're very inspired by Montauk. They were literally going to call it Montauk at one point.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, so basically there was going to be this church called the Holy Church of the Sacred Heart, right? And they would do stuff like after we bombed Iraq, like the United States bombed Iraq, they had their own jet plane, and they went over there and helped all the people we bombed and gave them food and televised it. And we're like, this isn't America. This isn't what we stand for. This isn't what Jesus stood for. And they would just do stuff like that. And the United States didn't like it, and the Satanists didn't like it, because a lot of churches, it's going to be hard for people to hear, but in order to be a satanic priest, you have to be a priest in a Catholic or Christian or any Abrahamic faiths. It can be Muslim, it can be Jewish, it can be Christian. It doesn't matter. Any of the Abrahamic faiths, you have to be basically a rabbi or a priest, or I don't know what the Muslims call their I forget what they call their priests or whatever. But
I can tell you that Bill Schnoebelen, this guy that I reference all the time, who gave a very famous presentation at the Prophecy Club.
He talks about that.
Yeah, he talks about that, and that he was talking about vampires and werewolves, and how once you reach a certain level of the Brotherhood of Satan, for entertainment purposes only, you can either become a vampire or a werewolf. He chose to be a vampire, and talked about that, and he said exactly what you just said, that if you want to become a high priest of the Church of Satan, you have to be a Catholic priest first.
Which is like which explains why some of these guys are, like some of these mega churches and some of the really evil guys, the things they say, and then the abuse cases that come out of these churches and stuff like that. See, people think that like with the Catholic Church, like all the boys being abused, like it's just a coincidence. It's just like these priests, they can't have a woman and it makes them go crazy or something. And no, it's the cornerstone. It's a cornerstone of the satanic religion. Sodomy is a portal. Doing these terrible things to children is part of their religion. And Aquino had the nerve to go on Oprah and say, well, I can do whatever religion I want because it's not a criminal to have your religion. It's like, it's not a criminal act. And it's like, no, his religion believes in criminal acts and acts upon them. And so what people need to understand about Presidio is over a dozen kids, I think it was dozens if I'm correct, but I know it was at least a dozen kids came forward about being abused at this school on Presidio Air Force Base. And there were kids that were able to describe the layout of Aquino's home, so having supposedly had never been there, supposedly had never been abused by him. Multiple people, multiple children came forward and said that they were there with details that they couldn't have had unless they were there. And all the evidence got burned down. Literally, the room that held all the evidence on the case got burned down. And then, of course, Michael Aquino pulled an O.J. Simpson and wrote a book about how he didn't do it and he was innocent.
Oh, no.
And it was all satanic panic. And it's
the satanic panic. There probably was a reason for panic, actually. Looking back on that,
yeah,
like that was another psyop, wasn't it?
I always say,
golly,
I always put it this way because I try to help people understand like the two sides, like because you gotta have nuance, and when it comes to these things, like I always tell people, like satanic panic was to an extent, sure, like the kid that lived down the street from me that wasn't allowed to watch anything but VeggieTales and was only allowed to listen to Christian music, like not even like boy bands or anything, like, and they're just like super sheltered, like, okay, maybe that was a little bit of satanic panic, like a little extreme, right? But on the same end of the spectrum, like there is an international satanic cult that is sacrificing goats and chickens, and guess what? Actual human beings, children too, and they got baby farms and all this crazy shit. And you know, the sad part is it's been exposed over and over again for 30 years, and it just keeps on getting swept underneath the rug. Like, I don't know if you know about the Mark Detroit case, but there was a case of this stuff that got blown so wide, like 15, 20 years ago, that all of Belgium was protesting in the streets, thousands of people. And you know what's sad about it is there still hasn't really been justice. It's like, will we ever see justice? Like, we got these Epstein files coming out, and it's talking about certain people eating entrails of babies and stuff like that.
That's in those records. Yeah.
Is anything gonna happen?
I don't know. I would hope so. That's what I was thinking last night. I'm like, first of all, it's not so hard to wrap my head around all this now because we've been talking about it for so long. I've been hearing about this for a long time. And I've seen pictures of people sitting on those buckets down there in the island, all this stuff. And it's like, it is just really disturbing, but it's like, there needs to be people that are brought that answer for this. Okay. This is crimes against humanity, Arkheim. And I know that we spent some time at Montauk together. I was able to accompany you guys on a trip there. A lot of the survivors of the Montauk project, along with our good friend James Rake, who has passed away as of recently. And you guys gave a wonderful speech, a wonderful talk at Council Rock that day. I have some beautiful pictures of you guys from that, where we talked about the roses from Montauk. And I think that there's been a lot of victims here, Arkheim. Mm-hmm. And I really do appreciate you talking about this with us today. And I feel like there needs to be a lot of healing.
Yeah, I just really want to reiterate something for wrapping things up. This is the point that I want to make here with this AI stuff. It has been used to manufacture things, and it's not new. Just like you're saying, I don't know about all the stuff about all the paintings and sculptures like this guy is saying, but yes, AI videos exist. They've edited things. They've messed with things. This is not anything new. But in the same breath, like, the reason why Elon Musk is allowing people to make child sexual abuse images with Grok is because he and all of his technocrat buddies and all these politicians are guilty of doing incredibly heinous things, that, like, all the things that you could think of, like, if you had unlimited wealth and unlimited capability and you were a sick fuck, what would you do with that money? I'm telling you, they did them. Like, I'm telling you, like, I have been assaulted by Elvis, me, like, and there's footage of it, and other celebrities and stuff like that, and celebrities from the past are supposed to be dead. And I'm telling you, John Benet Ramsey is in some of this footage. Okay, one of the sorry,
You don't have to talk about that, Arkheim, if you don't want to.
But what I'm saying is, it's not AI. They're gonna the reason why Grok is flooded, like, because that doesn't make any sense. That's so illegal. How is this being
I didn't know
allowed
that
to
was
happen?
even a thing.
You can literally prompt into Grok and get CSAM, okay? And that's and all when he got the only thing that he did when he's like, we're gonna fix this problem. Guess what he did? He made now you have to pay to do it. That's the only thing that they did. Now you gotta pay to do that. It's a feature that's
terrible.
unlocked. Yeah, and the reason why they're doing it is so that they can flood the internet with fake stuff of celebrities doing things to kids and all this gross stuff, so that when the real stuff comes out, they can be like, oh, that's all fake. That's all fake. Yeah. And I am here to say it's not fake. And I know that there'll come out, there'll be footage of me doing terrible things.
Well, it's kind of come full. This whole conversation has come full circle now, Arkheim, because we started off talking about how there's a line blurred between reality and AI, things that aren't real. Right? It's like, what is real anymore? And it's the everything's been muddied and blurred so bad at this point. We don't know what's real. There are real victims to these things. There are real survivors, and so I don't know. I think there'll be more people that come out. I mean, we know personally a lot of people, several people at least, that have come out that speak out on the secret space programs, on the Montauk projects, on Project Phoenix, all these different programs. And so if anyone's looking for information for this, y'all can go to Arkheim's YouTube channel, and Arkheim has a book as well.
Also, I got an Instagram. I never really plugged it before, but Bloth Arkheim Ra on Instagram, Bloth Arkheim Ra, or just Disclosure Now on YouTube. And I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Arkheim Ra. A Bandcamp, bloth.bandcamp.com. I wrote a bunch of famous music. That's where I put the music that I made in the here and now. Yeah, just that's all the stuff I've got out there. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me talk about this.
Well, of course. Well, okay, we
definitely a lot more.
Let me show your book. There's a lot more. I meant to put a picture of your book up here, and but this is Arkheim's book. Arkheim, tell the audience about your book.
It just kind of goes through, like, from my experience being brought into these programs and what it was like, and it tells some short stories of lifetimes that I've lived, or kind of summarizes lifetimes that I've lived in the programs to kind of give the reader a kind of understanding of how these programs work and what it's like, and how the universe works with these breakaway colonies and stuff like that, and time travel and all that. So
okay, it's a wonderful book. I've read it. It's amazing. I'm super proud of you, Arkheim.
Thank you.
And so you guys, please go get your copy and get it on Amazon. The links are all in the description box below this video. And so Arkheim, what do you think the future holds for us? I know you're a time traveler. I might be one too. I don't know. But what do you think in the near future, in the near future, where do you think humanity is headed? Do you think that you think it's good? Or
the easiest way to change the future is simply to look at it. I can tell you that. But what I can say is I don't sense that the Overseer AI timeline is going to happen. I hope I'm right about that. I see I think this Epstein stuff coming out is really pissing a lot of people off, as it should. And I think this is the beginning of the grip loosening of the psyche of man. But I got to be real with you. The way we've been treating our planet, and with the way things have been going, it's very likely that an ET race will just come along and reset things and take over our planet. I actually do believe that's very possible. The people who are guilty will be held accountable, and the people who aren't will be relocated to other worlds. But there's a very good chance that ET will step in and say that we can't have our planet anymore because we're not taking care of it and it's going to die if we continue to live on it. So that's something that people don't really like to hear, but that is a very, very likely possibility. Either that or they'll come down and forcibly start a new government with us and help us start a new government, which will be hilarious to watch because there'll be people like, it's the aliens are taking over when they're literally just trying to help us save our planet. That'll be interesting to watch. But that's there's all sorts of different ways that it could happen. It depends on what we do. It depends on how we respond to the Epstein files. It depends on how we respond to all this, the World War III. They're going to try to start World War III. Are we going to let them do that? Because if we do, the aliens are going to step in and be like, you can't do World War III. And we're going to take your planet now. I promise you that's what's going to happen if we try to start World War III. They're going to come in and go, no, you can't drop nuclear bombs on each other. It fucks with like the timeline and like opens up. It does things that we don't understand and the aliens do. Yeah. So they're not going to let us do that again. That's why the UFOs, like, you know how they show up to they've literally
over the nuclear sites.
Yeah, and they deactivate them and then just take off.
You sure do. Yeah, I've actually been given some of those instances as remote viewing targets with Barry. We have plenty of shows on those where they go over weaponry sites and nuclear, like nuclear plants. And anytime there's any kind of missile about to be shot off, they will deactivate them.
Yeah.
And so good for them. Okay.
Yeah. So like, are like alien doesn't necessarily mean bad guy, right? And I can also tell you, I've encountered some nasty looking beings that look like demons and they're actually really nice. And I've also encountered some beings that look like a attractive man or attractive woman or whatever, and they're a fucking monster. So, it's when they say don't judge a book by its cover. It's like there are some gnarly looking, demonic looking creatures that would do nothing but protect children, right? And then there's people that look like you could trust them.
Celebrities.
Yeah,
right?
like celebrities. Like some of the most evil people imaginable. Isaac Cappy was telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Arkheim, thank you so much for being here today. Y'all go to Disclosure Now with the exclamation point.
While we're here,
and subscribe.
Look up Sasha Riley. Look up Sasha Riley. Look up the testimony of Sasha Riley. That's the last thing I have to say.
Okay, wonderful. We'll do that. Okay, well, Arkheim, please come back and hang out with us, with me. Let's do some more remote viewing targets in the future too. Okay?
We will. I've definitely got some for you. Take care.
Okay, thank you, Arkheim. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Bye.
All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Please go over to Disclosure Now, exclamation point, on YouTube. And y'all know Arkheim always hops off before I get done with the show. Every time. It's his trademark, and I love it. Okay. I love it. And I want to thank you guys so much for sticking with us today and being here. And on Wednesday, we have William Nighthawk coming on the show. We're going to be talking about fallen angels, as a matter of fact. And I think it will tie into what we were talking about today. And then on Thursday, we have Jimmy Payne coming back with Misha Johnson. And we're going to be talking about the true story behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Texas Slaughter family. I don't know how I got into that one, y'all. It's wild. I've watched both movies from beginning to end with Jimmy and Misha, actually. And so that was interesting. But it has to deal with Men in Black, MIBs, and presidential models, and much more. So y'all, it's going to be wild. And of course, we have our Saturday night show coming up as well. So y'all, please be safe out there. I hope y'all enjoy the show today. And with all the things that are going on in the world right now, please don't live in fear, y'all. Live in awareness, and take care of yourselves, and don't just, just try to keep your vibrations high, y'all. Okay. And say a prayer for Arkheim and for everyone who's been affected by these programs. And and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Okay. And I'm hopefully going to have all of my computers and equipment syncing up by then. Okay. I'm taking some time to myself tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful day. And and thank you so much to everybody who gave super stickers and things like that. Let's see. Before I go today, I want to thank you. I know Rhonda did. And so thank you, Rhonda. And I do apologize if I didn't get to all of your comments and stuff today. I do apologize. So Rhonda, thank you so much. Oh, and Ingenib as well. I'm glad I called that. Great info today. I love Arkheim's perspective. Thank you. I do too as well. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best audience in the whole world. Okay. I mean that. All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday with William Nighthawk. All right. Bye, y'all.